we're live now. You know, the fucking YouTube app on the iPhone sucks for going live. So, today, at the request of some of you guys who are watching my PC building simulator stream, we are going to build a PC. Let me know if the battery on that goes out, and I'll get a charger. It should be good, though. So we're doing this from my stupid iPhone because I don't have my streaming setup working because, well, it's all taken apart. It's all getting transplanted into a new case, and I have to rebuild all of it, so this is what we're doing today. Well, here we go. So, this is not going to be all like brand new top of the line stuff. This is going to be the most suitable out of the parts I have. So this is an Antec 900 case. I guess what I should do is I should tell you guys the order in which this stuff is going to happen, okay? Typically, what I like to do is I like to put the power supply in the case first. I don't really like trying to manipulate it while the motherboard is in there and end up dropping it on the motherboard or something because I'm a clumsy asshole. So that's the reason why we set it up like that. We put the power supply in first. Then after that we do the work on the motherboard. So what I will commonly do is I will put the NVMe on it first, or the RAM, doesn't really matter which order, but I like to put all that stuff on before I even put it in the case. And I would typically put the processor on and just kind of lower it in like that. I'm not going to put the processor on this stream because it's already on, and I don't feel like wasting perfectly good thermal paste right now. But in a nutshell, how you would do that, this is what your processor would look like. In fact, this is an 8th gen i3, which would work on this same motherboard, which is why I picked it to show you guys. But basically, you would drop it on, not drop it literally, but you set it in the motherboard with the triangle. I don't know if the camera's focused on that, but this triangle right here will be facing a triangle on the slot for the processor. And then you would put a pea-sized dab of thermal paste on the top of it, and then you would lower your heatsink on there and mount it. It's not that difficult to do. I can make another video doing it eventually, but I don't feel like doing it tonight. So that's pretty well what that comes down to. So we're going to get our case more or less prepped and ready. So I will take this IO shield. Ooh, crap, that's dusty. Good God. Whatever. I will take this IO shield from the motherboard here. I'll make sure to put that in because if we don't put it in before the motherboard, we won't be able to put it in without taking the motherboard back out. So, let's go ahead and seat it in there and it will click into place just fine. After that, we're going to put our power supply in. Now, you guys will notice I have a hard drive mounted here. We will end up using this hard drive because it's here. Mounting a hard drive is not hard. You have these screw holes on the side, and then you would basically put it in here and screw it in. It's pretty easy. I don't feel like I need to take all of that apart in order for you guys to know how to mount the hard drive. Now, this power supply technically can probably go in either way with how versatile this case is, but I'm going to put it in with the fan facing up. And the reason for that is because this is an older case and we do not have any sort of exhaust or anything at the bottom to let the air out. So I'll set these cables aside right here. Now, typically when you buy a computer case, it's going to come with a bag of screws. Because this computer case is over a decade old, we don't have a bag of screws with it. But we do have a nice little box of screws from various computers that I have disassembled over the years. So we will go ahead and get this bad boy mounted up. Actually, before I do that, let me make sure of one thing. Always make sure you have the right connectors for what you want to do, and what I am checking is to see if I have an 8-pin connector for the CPU, which I do right here. And we have a 4-pin as well. This is a 6-pin or 8-pin that would be used for a graphics card. We will not end up using that. I will show you guys what to do with cables that you are not using shortly. But let me know if anything comes in the comment section. Ken's my cameraman. Do this right without dropping crap, life would be good, wouldn't it? So we'll screw this in there. This may end up wanting a bigger screw. Yeah, it wants a bigger screw. So it wants the, I'm thinking it wants the wider thread. This is kind of what you get when you use a random box of screws. You have to figure it out. But that's what PC building is all about, figuring it out. That's half the fun. So, we'll put the correct screws in there now. Some of these screws where the threads are too small, I normally would try to use pliers to pull that out. I don't have pliers here, it's the one tool I neglected to grab, so we're just going to go without it for now. Let's screw that in there. Alright, so the next part of this wonderful process here, we will set this aside for now. And we will do some work on the motherboard. I try where possible to set my stuff on a safe surface. Even though in my experience, like I've never had a motherboard go bad from just setting it on the counter. I've never had one die that way. But we will take precautions because I actually do give a shit about this particular machine. So, what we're going to do here is we're going to mount the NVMe in. Set that in there like so. And then we'll take my screw and tighten it down. Now the reason we're doing this now is because it's easier to do it now with the motherboard outside of the case than it is to do it and have to dig your hands in there and maneuver around this heat sink and all that. The other reason is because when we put the graphics card in right here, like so, like here, like so, that blocks the M.2 slot. So in order to not have it be a complete pain in the ass, we do it like this. So the other thing that we are going to put in is going to be our RAM. Now this is temporary because I had to take the RAM out of this motherboard and temporarily put it in my new build until the new RAM comes. So this RAM is for a whole other machine that is not being used right now, but this is Patriot Viper 3000 megahertz DDR4 4 gig sticks. So this is a grand total of 8 gigs. Not anything you're really going to brag to your a-hole buddies about, but for this particular machine, I really don't care. The main reason why I'm using this machine now for this is these PCIe 1X slots for capture cards. This will allow me to put a third capture card in, which can accommodate my webcam GoPro thing with how I've been hooking it up lately. Now, you will notice that I am skipping these RAM slots. This is important. You have to make sure to look at your motherboard manual and figure out how it wants your RAM mounted. On this particular motherboard, if I mount these two sticks next to each other, we're gonna have two sticks on different channels. So if you want the CPU to be able to access the dual channel functionality of these RAM sticks, you need to make sure they're mounted correctly. If you're populating just one slot or you're populating all 4 slots, it doesn't matter as much. We're doing it on this build, so that's why we're doing it this way. So we will scooch this to the side for now. Now you saw me put a M.2 on there. I'm not using this, I just brought it to show you guys what a SATA hard drive looks like outside of the case. So you'd either be drive or you'd be using an M.2 depending on what parts you got for your build and what your compatibility is. Now, here's a part of the build that YouTubers don't be showing you, okay? Let me find a good pointer. My little bastard screwdriver disappeared on me. Oh, there it is. Alright, so we have to get the standoffs mounted into the PC case. What those are going to do is they're going to keep the motherboard. See all these little pins at the bottom, these little soldering points? What the standoffs in here are supposed to do is they're supposed to keep those soldering points from coming in contact with the metal at the back of the case here and getting badly grounded and shorting out or whatever. So in our box of random parts and stuff, look at this. I have a bag from some random case that I got from somewhere, and I just never use the screws because I have this random box of screws. So we are going to take these standoffs, these bastards here, and we're going to put them in these holes. Where's my pointer? You'll see these holes right here at the bottom of the case, and they're configured in all kinds of different ways so that you can accommodate multiple different types of motherboard. So I am going to compare the motherboard to the case. I like how these stupid, isn't that great? Alright, so we know that one goes here in the upper right hand corner. You can go ahead and kind of get a grand tour of all the parts. I need to go get some pliers. So usually I like to tighten these down just a little bit. The pliers, they don't need to be crazy tight, but you want them to at least be somewhat tight, because you don't want to end up having to take your motherboard out later and then you're going to have to deal with, oh man, I have screws attached to standoffs attached to a motherboard that's not even in the case. That just, I don't know, it sucks. So, we know we got these three, right? Let's see, we got this one right here. We know that goes there, so we're gonna put that one in there. Nice and easy does it. And then these two holes right here. And you could hold the motherboard there and compare where the holes are going to be. I would encourage some people to do that. I don't have to do it because I've done this a lot. So I already have a pretty good idea where everything is going. So we're going to do these three holes right here, which we will compare this just to do a sanity check. Yeah, just going off the length of the motherboard, it's going to be these bottom three here. So, some people try to make this out like it's rocket science. It's really not. If you think of it like a really expensive Lego kit, it's more comparable to that when you talk about the general experience of it. Trying to torque these down without wrecking my paint, which I did a really shitty job painting it. I thought it was going to come out better. I should have took the sandblaster to this bitch, but that's a different story for a different day. So now we want to move all this crap as far out of the way as we can. And we're going to gradually and carefully lower our motherboard in there, trying not to take a bunch of random cables with it. We will lower it into the I/O shield. Get that bad boy in place. And then after that, I'm going to start screwing the damn thing down. Not as hard as some places make it look. Now, At least not on a basic level. There are some things about PC building that can be kind of difficult. There are some hurdles that you will have to go over when you're building your PC. Man, I'm trying to hold this camera and do this at the same time kind of sucks. So after I get this screw done, I'm going to check comments real quick while I wait for him to come back. Oh, nobody's commented anything. Okay, well then I guess we're going to keep going. Come on, focus. My hand is shaky as fuck. I'm sorry, guys. See, like, unless, what the hell? Chat viewing options. There we go. Oh, people have been commenting and I just didn't see them. I'm sorry, guys. Fuck, I feel like an idiot. I don't usually live stream from my phone very often. That would be a hurdle when it comes to PC building. I am legit doing this with one hand right now. So, we got hurdles like knowing that you know that you have parts that will work together. Oh, yeah. Oh my God, I can't even tell you some of the struggles I have had with that shit. Jeez. Man, I remember back in the day, I got really excited. I had this ATI graphics card that I thought was going to work in my build. I don't remember what model number it was. It was some 2 gig thing. It was supposed to be a fairly powerful card. Now, how am I going to do this with one hand? I don't think I am. Well, no, let's try. Okay, back to my story. And that screw in there, I'm going to have to get that later. I don't think my screwdriver is going to fit right there. I'm going to have to come back at it with my snubby, which I don't have with me because I didn't think I would need it. Oh, look at that. It's magnetic. I have like 4 of these screwdrivers and some of them are magnetic, some of them aren't. This one is. So that would have been nice to know earlier. I love this screwdriver. This thing is slick. Alright, we're going to try to get that. I am feeling kind of ambitious right about now. Oh, hey, cameraman's back. Here, take this. Came just in time to see me try to do like the most difficult screw in here. Oh, god damn it. Yep. Knew that one wasn't gonna be. I guess it's not magnetic. The last screw is just sticking. Let's see if I can get it in there. I was thinking I was gonna need my snubby for this one. My screwdriver just barely fits. Kind of crazy, but shit, I'll take it. I will take my wins where I can get them, because God knows, sometimes they're hard to get. Alright, so we have this stuff put together. Now, we have two options. We got cable management, and we have I/O stuff. So, I'm going to start messing around with cable management at least a little bit. So, what we're doing right here, we're plugging in the SATA cable to the drive. I don't like the color of this SATA cable for this, but I wanted the shortest cable that I could get, so that's what we're stuck with. So now we got our motherboard power stuff to deal with. And then we're also going to set aside cables that we don't use. Now this is an old school case, okay? So I'm going to need y'all to cut me a little bit of a break. I got to do old school power management, or cable management. Alright. I'm going to pull out my trusty pair of shears. Cut this zip tie so I can get this crap to go exactly where I want it to. So let's see if the 24-pin cable, damn it, is long enough. This is what's good about modular power supplies, because normally you have a modular power supply, you just plug in what you need and don't mess with what you don't need. And you don't have to jack around with all this crap. But this power supply ain't that gangsta. It's only semi-modular. So we'll see if it will reach. I think it will. Barely, but hey, I'll take it. Is it being stubborn, or am I being clumsy? I'm being clumsy. So, since this is not a newer case, I don't really have anything good to do with this cable. On a newer case, you'd like route it through the back and then over and then plug it in. I don't have that option here, so I'm just going to plug it in. And then if these zip ties will fit, I will zip tie it to this fan right here so it's not doing anything dumb. And it won't fit. I do have zip ties that will fit, but they're, not here. That's what I should go after this video is done and call it. They're not here. Where are my pliers? They're not here. Snubby screwdriver. Bastard zip ties? No sir, ain't got them. So we are kind of mitigating these cables. trying to get them a little better. This stuff's not being used at all. So I want to try to push this stuff underneath the cables in front. Then I'm just going to make a neat looking bundle and zip tie it together. Now this is very basic. Cable management can get a lot more difficult than this. We're partying like it's 2006 with our cables at least. So that stuff's out of the way and it's looking pretty neat and tidy and it will not interfere with airflow. Alright, that stuff's plugged in, that's plugged in. Alright, we're going to deal with our setup now. So, this can be fairly short because the drive is right here. I don't need this much length. So, in the spirit of partying like it's 2006, we're going to continue to do that. I'm going to zip tie this bundle of garbage together. And do let me know if any comments come in so I can respond to them. Get the SATA cable out of the way and plug this power cable in. If I could stop being clumsy. I know. I know what the deal is. Alright, so we have right here we got USB 3.0. We got front panel like power switch and stuff. I might just try plugging this in and seeing if I can get lucky with it. We got HD audio, which I haven't looked at this motherboard in long enough. I don't know where that is. Normally it'd be around here somewhere, but I don't see it. I see USB. Oh, it's right there in the corner. Jeez, isn't that lovely? That's kind of a dumb place to put that. We might not even plug in the HD audio. I'm not going to use it anyways. But if we were going to use it, that's where it would go. So we do got USB here. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with my power supply cable, but in reverse. I'm going to run it through here and right into there. And I would try that with the front panel, but I don't think that will work. So we might be shit out of luck there. So we'll just get this plugged in. And see if this does it. I don't think it will. Don't think it's going to work this nicely for us. But what's the harm in trying it, right? No, now that I'm looking at it, this definitely won't work. I'm comparing the pins right here with what is right there. Sorry if it's blurry or shaky, it's like way zoomed in. I don't think that works. So I'll have to do that the fun way. Yeah, I was thinking about routing my USB through there, but I might be changing my mind on that too. I might just bundle these all in the center. It was really difficult to have your, well, I wouldn't say it's really difficult. It was a lot more difficult than it is now to have your cable management looking nice and pretty. But I don't know that we're going for super perfect on this one. Just trying to give you guys an idea how things work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and mess with this later, but what you would do with this, with the front power switch, the reset switch, hard drive, LED, all that stuff, is you would look at your motherboard manual. If you don't physically possess it, you could Google it, and you would find out like a diagram of where these things plug into that header on there, because nobody can bother to make it universal, even to this day. I don't know why that's not standardized at this point, but whatever. So, yeah, you're gonna find the right stuff to plug that into on a diagram, and the reason why I'm not doing that now is because the very phone that I would use to Google it is a phone that's recording this crappy video. So HD audio is not getting plugged in. 1934 is also not getting plugged in. Now, to give you guys a little bit of I don't know, something to go off of when it comes to my mindset here. This is not like a home computer like you'd want to sit at and check your email or what. I mean, you certainly could, but that's not what this is for. This is not even a gaming computer. This is for encoding my live streams. As long as it is capable of doing that, I don't care. So there's some stuff that we're doing quick and dirty on this because, well, one, the reason I just told you, and two, I already know for a fact that I'm going to have to come back and revisit some of this stuff in the future. So I can put a little bit of it off until then. Now you see where I push that crap up? Get it out of the way. Keeps it nice and neat looking too. So we will zip tie this stuff together. This is pretty much going to stay like this. So I would like this stuff to be completely hidden, but if it can't be completely hidden, then I want it to be kind of tidy. Now, even in PCs that don't have a side opening or a side window or anything like that, you still want to do decent cable management, because that's going to make your computer easier for you to work on later, and it will help airflow. What, does somebody comment? Oh. Cameraman looked like he had something to say. So this stuff went from being a pile of random looking cables to actually looking kind of neat. Now, if you were being really fancy, you would use Velcro to tie all that stuff together. I don't feel like looking for my Velcro, so this is what we're doing. Now, I am going to have to use one of these 4-pin Molex connectors for the fan. And that kind of sucks. Well, actually, I'm going to have, well, no, I'm just not going to plug in that fan at the top. I don't think. I don't know, maybe we could. If I can get the darn thing out of there. There we go. I want to try to push this behind some of these cables and into this opening in the side here, where I will zip tie it to the side of the chassis. Along with this other cable here. Provided I can even get a zip tie in there the way I want it to. Cable management is one of the more difficult parts of building a PC. It's exciting. You want to go and you want to plug everything in. I know. Trust me. But you don't overlook your cable management. Take pride in what you do. And then you won't have me going on to whatever Facebook group or subreddit you're in and commenting that your cable management looks like shit. Because if I see shitty cable management, I will clown on you. Promise. That zip tie is not as cleanly or closely cut as I would like it to be, but I want to be able to cut that zip tie off later without cutting the fan cable. So we're just going to have to deal with it. So this bad boy is going to get pushed up into here. And the 4-pin floppy connector is going to get caught on everything. And then I'm going to decide that I don't like these because those cables are crossing and then pull it back. Did I say cable management was one of the more difficult parts of making a PC? I mean, okay, it's not really difficult. It's tedious. It's a chore. It's like cleaning. you're excited. You want to put everything together. You want to get everything working. You want to plug in your new PC and you want to play Minecraft or Grand Theft Auto or whatever game you play. You know, fuck yeah. Just built my 3070. I'm gonna get all these extra frames per second that I didn't have before. It's really easy to get caught up in that and then fuck up and be like, oh damn, my cable management looks like shite. So, let me go ahead and flip this around so you guys can see what I'm doing. So, I will have to, oh no, I don't have to track anything down. I'll have to track these USB cables down. So, you won't see me put those in this video, but just know that something goes here and something goes here, and this connects to the motherboard. So we have this doodad right here. So, how do I want to do? You see, I did some cable management already with the fans. Not too bad if I do say so myself. So I'm trying to think of a good, efficient way to do this. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do. So I'm thinking I'm going to zip tie these dudes here, and then I'm going to make a bundle right here, because I have to plug into something right here, and I can move this around to a limited extent. If you guys are wondering how this is being held in, I held it in there with super glue. If the controller dies, I don't really care. I can just rip it out. I wanted it to look neat, so that is some of the logic behind what I am doing, in case any of you guys care about it. I'm not a super big fan of this, but we're having to make some compromises here. See, my big area of concern is getting the case lid back on there, which is why you're seeing me mess around with some of this. Not only do I want it to look neat, I want to be able to put it back together without unnecessary difficulty. Oh. What the hell? See, this is why I fucking hate 4-pin Molex, because they always put the cheapest, stupidest connectors on there. And then they get difficult to plug in. Like, SATA connectors are not that expensive. Just use SATA. In 2022, we should not be jacking around the 4-pin Molex on any of our builds anymore. We just shouldn't. There are so many better ways to do it. Like, why? Why thermal take? Why? I'll tell you why. It's to fucking piss me off. That's why. Just fuck you soft. I'm flirting with the idea of zip tying it right here. I don't know that I see a way that I like to do that. So we might we can probably just put the side window back on. Alright, now for the fun stuff. Well, no, let's put the side panel back on. Then we'll get to the fun stuff. What a job I did. Not a very good job, evidently. Because they put all these wonderful points here for me to zip tie cables to. And then they left me no room to put the case back on. So that's nice. You alright? My cameraman ain't doing so hot, so we're gonna have to like hurry up. Alright, so that goes in nicely. We will use these thumb screws here. Well, we'll use that thumb screw. Alright, now let's get our PCI stuff in there. This is the stuff everybody likes to play with. Well, I'm not going to completely block the fan with this. Normally I don't like anything getting in the way of my graphics cards. But I don't want my graphics cards sitting between two capture cards. If I can avoid that, because that's going to make it really confusing when I got to get behind the desk and plug things in. I think my cameraman caught COVID. Sitting over here looking like he wants to fall asleep and shit. So put these slot covers back in. Trying to decide which ones I want to use because I have two different styles here. So as you guys can see, this case is from 2006, but I modernized it some. I put RGB in it. It's all painted black on the inside. I might have saw a red door in there and had to paint it black. If you guys are not cultured enough to get that reference, then you suck. Okay, so we're ignoring this for later. I can show you guys how to do that on a different video. That is how you put a PC together. We're going to put this back on. And you guys can see, aside from the front panel, my cable management doesn't look too shabby considering the options we had. So I will have to get this configured and good to go. And then we will have a streaming PC. Now don't get me wrong, this is not a gaming PC. Now I can play games on it. It's an Intel i7 8700K with a 1050 Ti in it. Like, I can do some shit with it. I will be right back. I'm going to grab a power cord and plug it in. I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's on. You guys are also going to get to learn a really handy trick. If I can find the fucking outlet. So you will notice my PC is not on, and because we don't have the front panel stuff plugged in, power switch ain't going to turn it on. So how do we turn it on? Oh, this is really cool. Well, anybody who's built a PC just about knows this, but for those of you guys who are here for first time learning this shit, basically what I'm doing is I'm jumping the pins. And this is what it looks like when it is on, with all of the RGB going. That's pretty damn slick, isn't it? I mean, I could probably put a little bit more RGB in there if I wanted to. Oh, it's pissed. Well, we'll have to troubleshoot that later. Honestly, I think it might be a bad power supply because it's an old power supply and I know every other part works. But that was kind of to give you guys a pretty good demonstration of how computer hardware goes together. Maybe we'll get a live stream of me troubleshooting this. Maybe we won't. But when I was talking about the struggles of building a PC, that's the struggles of building a PC sometimes. Anyways, I will see you guys on the next live stream. Until then, peace out and deuces, y'all. Fuck, how do I end this fucking thing?